So in terms of eating for a healthy weight, there are a few things that you want to look at. It's not one approach, it's a holistic approach in terms of doing a whole bunch of things at the same time. When you start a whole bunch of things at the same time, it is harder to figure out, well, I'm feeling better. Was it this, or this? However, when you isolate them, it's a little bit easier. And that's why you kind of go back to that making slow changes over time, because if you start slowly, those habits tend to last a lot longer. So with mindful eating, it's more, and another word for it is intuitive eating. It's allowing you to appreciate food rather than restricting it, right? So rather than finding an all or nothing kind of approach and saying, this is what I'm going to do forever, it's appreciating that, it's going to react differently every single time you have it. And also still honoring the fact that you can appreciate food and enjoy it. Because as soon as you kind of go over that hump in terms of, I have so many triggers, food becomes less enjoyable. So mindful eating is a really interesting approach to kind of really appreciate what you're eating and go from there and become less restrictive as a result of it. Physical activity is super important, not just in terms of overall fitness, but it is linked with that gut-brain connection that I talked about earlier. They've found that the more people are active, the better your diversity in terms of your gut. We're not talking hardcore boot camp and, box jumps every day, but just including some kind of physical activity can help, especially in terms of mental health as well, including things like healthy fats. So healthy fats are found in certain foods that are high in what's called omega-3. And it's a combination of anti-inflammatory fats that you can include within your diet that help reduce inflammation. So examples of those kinds of fats are things like ground flax or hemp hearts or avocado or using olive oil, certain nuts, things like that. Obviously, some of those foods can be triggers for certain people, but once you find out what your individual triggers are, you can include those within your diet. There have been recent studies in June 2021. There was an amazing study that was just released in terms of comparing something called the specific carbohydrate diet, which is super, super restrictive and was viewed as like the first kind of IBD way of transitioning things. I think it was like late 80s, 90s, but very difficult to maintain for a lot of people. And they compared the specific carbohydrate diet to something like a Mediterranean diet, where the focus on the Mediterranean diet is not necessarily taking out this, which is restrictive and similar to what specific carbohydrate diet, but Mediterranean diet was more about adding foods back in. So ensuring that you're getting fiber, ensuring you're getting these healthy fats, because both those things can help optimize the gut. They're better for overall your health. And also in terms of the IBD connection, it's not restrictive. It's not somebody telling you can't have this. It's something about, but you need to make sure that once you take those things out, or if you don't even need to take those things out, try to add things in instead in order to promote healing and recovery of the gut, which is really good for your mental health too. If somebody tells you not to have something, you just want it more. So fiber is the last thing on this list. There's other things, but these are the main ones I would focus on. And then adding things like vegetables can lead to feeling more satiated between meals. There's fiber in other foods too. If we find that oatmeal is a soothing kind of food for you, adding some ground flax in there to boost it, which is a soluble psyllium-based fiber. People who struggle with motility issues in terms of diarrhea or constipation, adding some fiber can slow things down or speed things up, but you have to be careful about the type of fiber you're doing based on where you're at in terms of your disease. Adding certain vegetables like a salad when you're feeling super inflamed is high in what's called insoluble fiber and harder for your body to digest. So maybe focusing on things that are more soluble or soothing would be a good way to introduce more fiber within your diet.